Hello, my name is Attorney Bradford Miller, the owner of Bradford Law PC. When you're selling property, we know it can be a very stressful process, especially when it's the home you're living in. There are so many moving parts and things to keep track of. It can definitely be overwhelming. Not to worry though, because we will help you with the process from beginning to end. Here's what a typical timeline looks like from your point of view. The first step is there's an offer on the property. You and your realtor negotiate the offer with the buyer and their realtor, and the contract is fully signed. Earnest money is then deposited in escrow. The second step is hiring my office. Send me the contract ASAP after it gets signed because there are deadlines that begin to run that we definitely need to keep track of. The third step is all the attorney work. I'll begin working on a transaction that will include reviewing the terms of the contract, ordering and reviewing the title policy, and drafting the paperwork necessary for the closing. The fourth step is the buyer's inspection. In a typical contract, the buyer has the right to have the property professionally inspected. If any problems are found, the buyer, through their attorney, may ask for them to be repaired, or they may ask for a monetary credit. Or they could choose to cancel the contract altogether and have the earnest money returned to them. The fifth step is additional earnest money is deposited. After the attorney review process and the inspection process, the buyer will give an additional amount of earnest money, which will deposit it into escrow. The sixth step is the association paperwork. If there is an association, we will be gathering various paperwork for them to give to the buyer. For example, the declaration, the bylaws, the rules and regulations, the budgets. The buyer has the right to review the financials of the association to make a determination whether or not they want to buy into the association. The seventh step is the mortgage commitment deadline. This is often the deadline that matters the most to all of the parties. For a buyer that needs to take out a mortgage, this is the deadline where the lender needs to issue a clear to close. Often this deadline needs to be extended, and sometimes the closing date needs to be extended as well. Once the loan is clear to close, my office will schedule the closing. The eighth step is the closing paperwork and sale figures. Typically the seller does not attend the closing, they sign everything ahead of time, either at my office or the paperwork is emailed to them and they FedEx it back to us. I also run all the figures for the sale and go over them with you prior to the closing. The ninth step is the final walkthrough. Usually it's the day before closing to make sure the property has not been damaged since they last saw it. If there are any issues, their attorney will reach out to me and we'll come to an agreement. Finally, we have the closing itself. The closing takes place and the buyer and their attorney signs all the paperwork and keys are exchanged. Overall, the timeline typically takes around 45 to 60 days to complete, but every transaction is different, and sometimes deadlines need to be extended for one reason or another. I hope you found that useful, and I look forward to possibly representing you in the future.